Yo! Tom Fiddzy here, and I'm here to talk to you about a Pokemon I absolutely love. Last time I did one of these videos, I should say not last week, I talked about a Pokemon that I absolutely hate, Duraludon. I absolutely slammed into that Pokemon, so I think it's only fair to balance it out, to find balance in the Force, by talking about a Pokemon that I absolutely love. My second favourite Pokemon of all time, just underneath, I should say, Bulbasaur, and that is Gengar. This Pokemon up here, I hope you can see it on my camera. Gengar. Look at that cute little boy. Get the light out of Gengar's face. He doesn't like the light. There is Gengar. I love Gengar. I am wearing my Gengar necklace for this video. I've got quite a bit of Gengar merchandise down here as well. I've got my little Gengar, like little Lego thing next to the number one favourite Bulbasaur. But why is Gengar slightly below Bulbasaur? Well, let's get into that in this video. Let's find out why Gengar is number 2. And ditto, you're not even in like the top 100, I'm afraid. So let's talk about Gengar. So, Gengar. Why is it not number 2? Well, it can't be number 2. Bulbasaur's number 1. Bulbasaur's number 1 because it was my first ever Pokemon, and I just have nostalgia for Bulbasaur ever since the first game that I had, Pokemon Red. Gengar, on the other hand, it was a trade evolution. And being a trade evolution, back in the day of the link cables, it wasn't a Pokemon that I had access to a lot of the time. Sure, some of my friends had it, but back in the day, the way I used to play Pokemon Red is I was restarting the game all the time. I didn't have like a big national dex like I have now that I bring with me from generation to generation to generation. I used to complete the game with a team, catch a load of stuff, and then be like, I fancy doing it with a different team. I want a Parasect on my team this time, and restart it and do it again. And just trying out different combinations. So I didn't really have a lot of time for Gengar because you had to meet up with your friend. By the time you kind of get to where Ghastly and all that are, you're already like halfway through the game and stuff. So I actually spent a lot of time in the early days, red and blue, gold and silver, with a Haunter. I spent most of my time then with a Haunter, and I was never really connecting to Gengar. It was only in the later generations that I really started to get into Gengar, when I started to get more into competitive battling. And I think around Black and White was the time where I actually really started to like Gengar. And that is where Gengar very quickly climbed the ranks all the way up to number 2 because of my Gengar that I trained up back then. I had a Gengar called O'Malley, and it was named after O'Malley from Red versus Blue. You know, the virus that kind of went around Omega. It's me, I am O'Malley, and I will destroy you all! That character, and I named my Gengar after that. And me and O'Malley have so many good battles together. We have so many good battles that Gengar became a Pokemon that is just iconic for me, and I absolutely love it. Nothing but good memories of me and O'Malley. The O'Malley that I still have today, because I still have O'Malley in my competitive Pokemon teams. It's not the same one, it's like O'Malley 4. But it's part of the same family. It's been bred from generation to generation. I still have a Gengar called O'Malley very close to me. So I said I started using Gengar around Black and White. The main time that I really started using it was in X and Y. Not for the Mega Evolution, but for standard Gengar. My O'Malley had Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb standard stab moves, powerful moves. It had the timid nature as well, so it could be super fast. It had Dazzling Gleam as its surprise factor for taking on dragons and for taking on dark types. And for its final move, holding a focus sash, it had Destiny Bond. And this move made Gengar one of my favourite Pokemon. Such a cheap little tactic. I went to this convention in London. It was called Anime League, and these bunch of awesome people, they used to host this like kind of Pokemon tournament where you go around and you have to find people with sashes on them, and they're like gym leaders, and they're each a different type, and they have like 1 or 2 Pokemon that aren't of that type. Like, for example, the dragon type gym leader had like a Lucario that could use like Dragon Pulse and stuff. So they had like all based on Pokemon, like Pokemon gyms, but they had like one Pokemon that was different but had a move. And you go around, you fight them all, and if you fight them all and you get all of the gym badges, you then get to go and fight in the championship battle. I did that for 2 years in a row. Both times I missed out on doing the championship battle because of the fact that there was something else at the con that I wanted to do when it was going on. But I got my gym badges, and part of the reason for that I got more gym badges twice was because of this Gengar. And it's a little surprise factor. It's a little surprise strategy of using Destiny Bomb with that focus slash. I used to take out, slash I should say, sorry, not slash. I took out so many of their top Pokemon by them not expecting it, thinking they were going to get an easy win, and then just taking them down with Destiny Bomb. But it wasn't just Destiny Bomb, because Gengar, like I said, was powerful on her own. I think my Gengar was actually a she, even though it was called O'Malley. At least my newest one that I have is a she. She used to take down all of her powerful Pokemon and then fight on her own as well with those powerful Shadow Balls, those powerful Sludge Bombs, and the surprise factor of the Dazzling Gleam. They were double battles as well, doing the double damage and everything. So, had so many great battles with my Gengar. Sadly, it all went downhill in the next generation because of the fact the most controversial thing for me in Pokemon history, the thing I've hated the most out of all of the announcements, is when they removed Levitate from Gengar's move pool and they gave it Curse Body. Because Levitate was one of the main reasons as to why Gengar was a Pokemon I used so much in battle, because I could team it up with powerful Pokemon like Garchomp and Crocodile. I was very much a fan of the move Earthquake and stuff in doubles, and Gengar, along with Talonflame, they were my two main ones going in all of my teams. And then they got rid of Levitate, and it was so annoying, and it made my Gengar suffer a little bit, because also in Sun and Moon, I think that was also the generation where Destiny Bond also got a nerf as well, so you couldn't use it in consecutive turns. You couldn't trap people out, so that they had to attack your Gengar. And I was devastated, my poor Gengar, and I've never really properly used my Gengar since. I tried around with its Mega Evolution a little bit, but I'm just not a fan of its Mega Evolution. There are other Pokemon, there are other Mega Evolutions that I much rather use, and Gengar is not one of them. I just got to swap hands there, holding my phone at arm's length. After a while, it hurts your shoulder. It hurts your little shoulder. Like a powerful Sludge Bomb coming from a Gengar on this shoulder. Yeah, so I couldn't use my Gengar as much. It didn't have its Levitate. It didn't have its Levitate, and it didn't have its Destiny Bond. I was forgetting the word there. Sorry about that. So my Gengar usage fell down, but by the time it was falling down, I was still in love with that Pokemon. Like I say, its Mega Evolution, I wasn't really a fan of its Mega Evolution. Another reason why Gengar isn't number one for me, because I really don't like its Mega Evolution. I much preferred other Megas. I really like Blastoise. Blastoise was on my team, not design-wise, but battle-wise, design-wise. Some of the Megas are hit and miss. I actually think Gengar is probably one of the worst ones, to be honest. Awesome ones are like Houndoom, I think, and Beedrill looks really cool. But Mega Gengar, probably, I'm not going to say the worst Mega, because the Latios and Latios are terrible. So probably if they're joint worst, it will be second worst. I do not like Mega Gengar. I just think its design compared to Gengar itself, compared to this beautiful smiley beast, I think Mega Gengar is just a bit stupid looking. It looks hairy. It's got those big hairy hands. It doesn't really look like a, I don't know, it looks like a kind of a rodent, like a ratty rodent coming out of the ground. I know it's meant to be coming out of the shadows, but it looks like a ratty rodent coming out of the ground. It doesn't look like a kind of a cute but evil little gremlin that Gengar actually is. That this little thing actually is a cute little gremlin monster that's also got a wicked smile and is evil. No, it looks like an angry rat, and then there's just something about the design that I don't know if it's it's lost a bit of character, or it's lost a bit of its charm or something. It's hard for me to actually pin down what it is. But just Mega Gengar doesn't fit for me. It doesn't kind of fit with the line of it. It looks a little bit, it looks like too, in a way it's just Gengar in the ground with more hair. But even still, it feels very distant from the rest of the Gengar line to me. And it's hard for me to explain why. It kind of looks a bit goofy, kind of looks a bit toony, and because of that, it doesn't really have that cute and creepiness factor on it anymore. I don't like its third eye that is just stuck on the middle of its forehead for no reason. Kind of looks like it's just been glued there, like a plate that's been painted and just glued on its forehead. It doesn't match its other two eyes. It's just staring there. It doesn't even seem to blink or anything. They don't like the fact that it's stuck in the ground. They get rid of the Levitate and then they stick it in the ground just to prove as to why it shouldn't have Levitate. And what's really annoying is the fact that Gengar is still flying around in the anime. Like when you see the following animations in later games, it's flying behind. It's still levitating. Why did you get rid of Levitate? Was it just because of the competitive stuff? It doesn't make sense. I mean, Curse Body is a good ability. And, you can still, put the Focus Sash on Gengar and hope that you, disable one of their moves and stuff. But that wasn't the Gengar that I used to use. It wasn't the Gengar that made me absolutely love Gengar. And because of that, Gengar, for me, it kind of fell out of usage. And sadly, I don't really use Gengar much anymore. I'm looking at it a little bit more. I don't really play Sword and Shield competitive too much, but I'm looking at it a little bit more recently because I saw a Fufu2 video on it, and he was talking about the fact that Gengar is a really good Imprism user and a really good anti-trick room Pokemon. And I was like, I really like the look of that set actually. And that might mean that it gives me a little bit more love again of Gengar, a little bit more usage for Gengar, and I could probably more easily fit it into teams than I can now. I can't really fit the Gengar that I used to use a lot as much into my general team builds, into my style anymore, which is really disappointing for me. But that lasting effect of Gengar, those happy memories, those happy battles with Gengar have still stuck with me, and it's just a Pokemon design that I absolutely cherish. I'm so happy that Ash got a Gengar in the anime now, even though it hasn't really done much. It took out a Raichu, and that's about it. I'm just so happy that Ash now has a Gengar as well. So even though I'm not using a Gengar as much in the games, at least it's there in the anime, because a lot of my reasons as to why I like or don't like a Pokemon is often heavily influenced by the anime. Gengar being one of them. Gengar having one of my favourite voices in the dub. That Gengar, 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 Gengar. I love Gengar. I love all of the Ghastly and Halter line in the anime. They are always a joy to see. Gengar especially, and it's great that Ash now has one as well. Other fond memories with Gengar, also Pokemon Go as well. I had another Gengar on that. It was also called O'Malley as homage to my Gengar that I used to have in the main series games. I think now I've probably renamed it. It's probably something like Legacy Gengar 84% or something, 2 stars, whatever. It's got a generic name. But back in the early days of my Pokemon Go, I had the Shadow Claw Gengar, and it was one of my strongest Pokemon. And it was consistent, and it helped carry me, and had a lot of battles with it as well. Further expanding my love of Gengar, because with Pokemon, often it's a Pokemon that you battle with a lot, that you really like. And for me, even though I always kind of liked Gengar's design, I didn't appreciate it until I started using it a lot in battle, and that's where my bond with it became so strong. And now I actually really love Gengar's design. It's simple but effective, a really simple, effective design. It's just like a little purple ghost boy with a creepy face, and it just so works, especially when you see it in the walls coming out and floating behind people. That's kind of why I don't like Mega Gengar as well. Maybe it feels a little bit too forced. We're just going to stick it in the ground. It's coming out of the shadow, and it's just going to look really sinister with its eye and stuff, and it doesn't work for me. It takes that away. As I said, it looks goofy, but it doesn't have the charm. It doesn't have the cute. The Gigantamax Gengar, I'm just a bit meh with all of the Gigantamax Pokemon. I think I actually prefer its design to Mega Gengar because it's still characteristically a Gengar, and it's still kind of creepy with its big mouth and stuff. It's annoying that once again they're like, we're gonna prove to you that Gengar shouldn't have Levitate by sticking it in the ground again. But I do kind of still prefer its design to Mega Gengar. It's just got that kind of cool but creepy design to it. It's kind of like a haunted house kind of thing. I do feel like it's a kind of a design it's kind of just like a Guzzlord, but a Gengar. So it's not like an original design for me. And because it's Gigantamax, you only see it for 3 turns anyway. So they're kind of meh, they're kind of pointless. You're not really spending a lot of time with that in battle. If you're even using a Mega Gengar, you're probably using just a standard Dynamax Pokemon, to be honest. So they're all kind of pointless, the Gigantamax forms. But even then, I don't know. I probably won't be using one. I don't have much of an opinion on it, because to me they're just meh and forgettable. But I really hope in the future Gengar can come back and I can be using it a lot more. This Imprison team, the Anti-Trick Room team, is something that I'm excited about. But regardless, I will forever love this Pokemon just for its design. It'll be a Pokemon that, even though I'm not using it as much in battle anymore, I can still look back on the great memories I had with O'Malley, one of my favourite Pokemon that I've ever used in battle. and I can now just appreciate its design as a poster on my wall. Again, get the light out of Gengar, it wants to live in the dark. You know, as a little Lego block thing on a shelf. I don't think any Pokemon now will probably take it from that spot, to be honest with you. A Pokemon's going to have to work really hard and do a really big push and really get into my heart to go and claim that number 2 spot. Or Bulbasaur has really got to disappoint me for Gengar to claim that number 1 spot. I'll talk about Bulbasaur, of course, in another video. Let me know your thoughts on Gengar down in the comments below. What kind of battles have you had with your Gengar? How have you been using your Gengars in battle? And what other like nostalgia do you have around the original ghost type Pokemon? Also, probably I should actually mention another reason why I probably didn't use it much back in the olden days was because ghost type Pokemon were rubbish in Gen 1. They only had Nightshade and Alakazam, which you should be sending a Gengar out to go kill, is easily killing Gengars back then. Just psychic types ruling everything, including the ghost types, which doesn't make any sense, which was disappointing. So Gengar's had a bumpy ride, but still in the shadow of my heart. Bye!